the Vino rod. Let's get back to part 5 of this 383 stroker build. I'm gonna set up the push rods and the geometry with the roller rockers and see what we come up with. Well, I've had these soaking in oil overnight and going to install this last set. Get a little bit of assembly lube on these guys. I cleaned them and then soaked them in oil overnight. Getting a little bit of assembly lube in the journal of the or board for the lifters, and it's going to go in this area here, goes towards the inside of the engine. Making sure that they slide up and down. That's good. And the push rods that I picked up, get those set in there. And these are the roller rockers that I chose to use. I hope you can pick that up where you can see that the roller is riding right directly in the middle of that lifter, or not lifter, but valve. So perfect. So my measurements of the push rods was correct. After doing the preload and setting the lash and tightening them down a 5/8 turn, and then locking the poly lock set screw down, and then turning the wrench one more quarter of a turn, which gives it about 3/4 inch of a turn on your poly lock. One, two, three. I have the 1/2-inch stud torqued to 60 pounds. I've got all the push rods set. I've got assembly lube on the tips. I have my rockers soaking in oil. I'm going to let them soak for an hour, and then I'll start assembling this. So far so good. I pre-assembled a couple and ran, turned the engine over several times, and I checked, rechecked, and it's making a mark in the center, which is good. So while I'm waiting for that stuff to go, I'll bring you over and we'll take a little flyover. This is the old school AFR head, where all they did was have that little embossed, I guess you'd call it, A on there. Now they have that big AFR deal on the front. There's my 3-piece cover and my dampener I'm using. I made that pointer system right there. Comp. So this is what Comp sent with it. Which you can see it's kind of got a little bit of a, somehow it got a little weld mark on it. Some slag. But this is the pointer that they sent with this cover. So I ended up putting together a better cover, or a better pointer. Just a scrap piece of aluminum with 2 jam nuts I had, and that old threaded pointer. So it took me a couple hours to throw that together. I think it's a lot better looking. So this is exhaust. So what I'm going to end up doing is these have been soaking in oil. I've got some lube on the threads, ARP, I guess that's what that is. And then a little bit of assembly lube on the tops of the push rods. So this is my intake. So you start with the exhaust. Okay. And I'm going to rotate this fella around. And this fella is going to come up. Hey, watch that right there. Got to go the right way when you're turning this bolt. Okay, so we're going to watch this guy right here. We want it to rise. Okay, coming up. Still coming up. Okay, starting to go down. So now I'll take this fella, move it over to here. Take this poly lock down on it. This is the way I'm doing it. You might want to figure it out for yourself. You probably really want to. So I've got a little bit of play still. Turning the poly lock down to where I don't have any play there. Push rod still turning. And what I'm choosing to do is start at this point here. Turn it to 5/8, which is about right there. And then lock it. So when I run this straight edge down through here, all of these are straight across. So that's a good sign. At least that's what they tell me. So now I'm going to set this one. And this is my exhaust. So I want to watch this valve close, and when it's done closing and it starts to come up, that's when I'm ready to set this rocker. Moving down. Closed all the way, starts to come up. A little bit of lash, right? Going to take out the 0 lash. Spinning the push rod. Yep. 0 lash there. Yep. Happy with it. So putting my wrench up at the top, taking it around to 5/8, locking this set screw down. And then following this through to lock it down. That's nice. That's real nice. I mean, no rocking. So for my first time, I feel pretty comfortable about the position that I have it in. Like I said, you know, this is just the way I'm doing it, and we'll see how it works. You probably want to do it a different way because it's your engine. There are different ways to do it. There's different ways to set these poly locks, but I chose to do 5/8 and finish it off to 3/4. Working nicely. All right. So I'm going to end it here. Things are moving forward. Now what I've got to do is get a melanized gear for my distributor. These comp cams request that you use a melanized gear on your distributor, and I don't have a melanized gear. So got to remove that gear and then find the right gear for that distributor.